Before I start the show, I need to shout out so many people who helped make my trip to the Natural Selection Tour possible and super rad. Thank you, Eric Anderson and Canuck Wake Surf Boards. Thank you, Mike Botello. Thanks to Laura at Revelstoke Mountain Resort and Emily at Grouse for setting me up with tickets. Thanks Jason Ford, Megan Pischke-Porcheron, Bayet Steiner, and Mark Gallup for truly making my weekend special. The FNRad Snowboard Podcast is presented by FlowJoy Water. Burton Snowboards supports FNRad, and I couldn't be more stoked. I'm riding my smooth operator the most these days, but all this custom talk has me wanting to ride one again. It's the Burton Custom's 30-year anniversary this year, and it's safe to say the best-selling board on the planet is still the landing place of all the best Burton innovation and tech. If you live in the Lower Mainland, be sure to drop by the new Burton flagship store at 4th and Burrard in Vancouver and grab yourself a Burton Custom. Hey listeners, this one's for you. Upline Brewing is beer for snowboarders by longtime Pacific Northwest shredder and FNRad listener Carl Montoya, who started Upline so you can crack a cold one anytime. No buzz, no slowdown, just good vibes. Unlike most NA beers, these actually taste legit and they're brewed with adaptogens for a mellow uplift. The Steezy Golden Lager and Crushin' IPA come in at just 25 and 50 calories and feature artwork from local legends like Quincy Quigg. Have one at lunch, grab another lap, hit the after party, and still wake up for first chair or the bank slalom podium. Drinking regular beers, toss some Uplines into the lineup. The natural electrolytes help you stay hydrated and keep crushing. FNRad listeners score 15% off at uplinebrewing.com with code FNRAD, or set up a subscription, save more, and never run out. Upline Brewing, brewed to adapt, crafted to elevate. Fixed bindings are now guaranteed for life. The new Block 5s are a perfect blend of performance and simplicity. I can adjust the straps on the fly without tools, and they're consistently comfortable and easy to get into and out of. All the new fixed bindings look and ride incredibly, so go buy fixed bindings today at your local fixed dealer or check out fixedbindingco.com. Bluebird Coffee Tuning and Rentals in Squamish, BC is the coolest new stop just 20 seconds off the Sea to Sky Highway on your way to Whistler. Drop in for the world's best cup of coffee, killer smoothies, and a true local vibe born out of 90s snowboard culture and music. They offer performance ski and snowboard tunes with state-of-the-art equipment. They've got premium rental fleets of Jones, Solomon, Libtech, and Burton, including Burton Step-Ons. And if you haven't gotten yourself one yet, Bluebird will even sell you a rad power bike. These bikes are so fun. For a blend of expert knowledge, convenience, and a lot of charm, stop in and say hi to Bluebird, the raddest mandatory new stop on your way to Whistler. Lock in and let go with Anon's magnetic face mask integration, built to keep you seamlessly covered from the elements, and Magnatech quick lens change technology that makes swapping lenses effortless even with gloves or mitts on. Enhance contrast and clarity with perceived lenses and get the most accurate perception of the surrounding environment regardless of light and weather conditions. Clarity starts where distraction ends. Full face coverage, complete presence. Check out Anon's helmets, goggles, and MFI face masks at an Anon dealer near you or at AnonOptics.com. Support also comes from the Pro Standard. Ken Achenbach has done it again with the push-button quick release for step-on bindings. Get them at ProStandard.com before they sell out. Pacific Border, Vancouver's premium snow skate and surf shop on West 4th Avenue. Check out PacificBorder.com. And 1910, the collaborative artworks of Jamie Lynn and Scof, two friends on a creative journey together, bonded by their love of art, music, and snowboarding. Go to the number 9, teen10.com for their latest collection. We need to thank our friends at Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, and Cypress Mountain for their continued support of FNRad, as well as Essential Toothpaste Tabs. I love them. I use them. Go buy them today. Lora Bodmer is FNRad's very first interview with a PR professional. Lora has worked promoting snowboarding for years, helping to promote movies like The Art of Flight, and is now an essential part of the team at Natural Selection. I met her at the NST media event, where riders and the media get together in a rad environment to create content. Lora was hardcore enough to stand in line for Revelstoke's Stoke Chair for 3 hours to get fresh tracks. Her story is amazing, and I'm proud to bring you this episode with Lora Bodmer.
I was in central Pennsylvania, and I would ski Blue Knob and Tussey Mountain, and I'd go out and ski, and I'd wear my little tight black pants, right? I was like 9 and 10 years old, and that was still in style, and ski with my dad and my uncle, and then I started seeing kids like sitting on the side on snowboards, and they'd like hang out, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. I'd watch them ride, and when I was 12, I got to go to Europe on this kind of fluke of a trip. Like, we weren't that fancy.
Right.
But I was there, and I saw in Switzerland the kids snowboarding. I came home, and I was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing.
Dope. And so then what's the first board you get to ride? Is it like a rental or something?
It was a K2. It was like one of my dad's friend's son's board. And I had these airwalks. They didn't even have airwalks small enough for my feet, like anywhere in central Pennsylvania.
So this is early. This is like early 90s?
It was early.
Yeah.
And I had, it was late 9. No, it was probably late 80s, early 90s, right?
Late 80s.
And so I had these men's airwalks, and they were so baggy, and my heel would come straight out. My whole foot would come out when I turned. I couldn't even learn on them.
The worst era of gear, but like the best era of like, hey, what is that? Oh, it's called snowboarding. And then you're like, when you could do it, you could get good in the first season.
Right.
And be like, if a contest came to your local mountain, you're like, I'm going in the contest.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then I snowboarded through those years. And then I went out to college at Arizona State, which is an awful place unless you meet a crew of people that love to snowboard. Yeah. So we'd get in the car, and every break and weekends.
From Arizona.
Yeah.
So where is Arizona State? Phoenix?
Tempe.
Tempe.
Yeah.
And what's close to there that you could drive to?
You could go up to Flagstaff.
Yep.
And then we would go to Durango and ride all of those mountains. We would take road trips all the way to Tahoe and Summit County.
Yeah, how far is Tahoe from Arizona? It's like 10 hours or something, isn't it?
They had this goofy snowboard club, and we would get on this charter bus, and they'd put like kegs of beer on it, and we would go like overnight and into the next day.
That's so amazing. Wow. Yeah. So like, that just proves right there. There's no college you could go to that wouldn't have like a snowboard team
or to
in
figure
those
it
days.
out, right?
And figure it out. Yeah. Holy crap.
You just have to want to go enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's fun. What a cool era. So what did you take at university?
I went to Arizona State for the Cronkite School to study journalism.
Oh,
I wanted to do TV journalism.
I mean, I know the Cronkite name. Is that like a pretty prestigious spot to go?
It is now, and it was known for that. And when I was there, he was still alive, and I got to meet him. And
wow, what?
Yeah.
Well, oh my God! Oh yeah, I forgot what you told me yesterday. All these crazy things that have happened in your life. So, do you do an internship after or something like that when you get out of school? Or
I was still in school, and I was at the ABC station in Phoenix, and then I went to DC, and I was at the CNN political unit. And I was at the CNN political unit, and I was like, I'm not like learning much. I went to talk to my advisor and get advice. And I'm just trying to like figure out how to get more out of this internship. And I'm start talking, and he picks up the phone and he calls the Whitehouse. And he's like, I've got this girl, and she's amazing. And because I was doing a semester at GW while I was at Arizona State. And he goes, she's in TV. And he goes, you need to go down to 1600 Pennsylvania. They're expecting you. And I'm like, what?
Just like that.
Yes.
Your advisor, it just gets you the gig. So what is that like going?
I walk in, and I go through the metal detectors, and I'm like, but I have this internship. And they're like, we need a television intern for the press office.
Oh my God.
And that's you. And
I was like, Whitehouse.
Yes. It was crazy.
That is so intense. Like, so, yeah, what does that look like?
That I was like, but I'm going to go into TV. And that's when I started doing more press, starting with that internship. I switched over to the dark side of publicity.
Is that what it is? So what were you going to be? You were going to be like a Walter Cronkite, like news anchor? Like
I wanted to be, actually didn't want to be on camera.
Journalist?
I wanted to write and produce and find good stories and help tell them and elevate things that matter.
That's really rad.
And storytell.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do.
Were you a fan of any podcasts like This American Life or like radio shows?
Well, I listened to a lot of NPR.
NPR
stuff. I was a really big NPR fan. I mean, podcasts weren't really.
They didn't
the Clinton
exist
administration.
Oh my God!
So this is like a while ago.
So you're an intern in the Clinton administration, like
right after Monica, like a year and a half after.
How many interns does he have?
There's a lot. It's this whole big program that I knew nothing about because I didn't apply and I hadn't gone through the thing. It was like probably a month into it and I just show up there.
I looked into being a page for like the prime minister or something when I was a kid because I was really enamored with like, it seemed like a cool thing. You're changing policy.
Just to be like in sort of like near where important decisions are being made.
Totally. So you got to meet him?
Yeah, I met him and I worked with Hillary.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was surreal, right?
As a 20-something or even
I was
as a
younger
teenager?
than that. I was 19.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
It was wild.
I can't believe it.
And I like stayed on. I did more. And then I like made friends to get onto the Gore campaign. But I think that's like sort of the theme, right? You just say yes. Like you take chances.
Oh my God, of course.
And that's how like wild things happen.
That is how wild things happen. Like standing in line for Stoke Chair for a couple of hours and then the best run of your life.
Worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it.
And it was there and everyone I was with was leaving, right? And I was standing by you. And,
and
you're like, I've invested time in this. Like, what am I going to do with that hour that's going to be better than what might happen?
Yeah. There were some dissenting voices around us. And I think we were just close enough to the front that it was like, you know what, we're already here.
Right.
If any more people leave, we're like first on the chair.
Totally.
It felt like.
We weren't far off.
There was like a few hundred people in front of us.
Right.
Like
initially.
just by counting by chairs, right? Like when we got on the chair, I was like, there's not going to be any tracks for us left.
Oh, you thought?
Oh,
No.
I was like scared. But then once we got to the top, I was like, it was untracked, untouched.
That
everywhere.
was as good as any cat run or heli run.
Yeah, I would say even heli. Yeah, good cat. The snow was so good, and the fall line here is so amazing. Revi's amazing, but it was a series of just saying yes to get me here in this amazing room. Right? It's incredible. So, at that point, does snowboarding go on the back burner? There's nothing much near DC.
Right. It was. And then, I'm a Democrat and, I care about the environment and I care about women's issues and I care about healthcare. And it was then 2000, I went back, I worked a federal campaign, a congressional campaign in DC, around the DC area. And I was going to stay. I was going to work on Capitol Hill and I was on this trajectory. And then I looked around, I'm like, oh, there's no jobs because we didn't have the House. Democrats didn't. Gore lost. I wasn't going to go work for George W. Bush.
He won, but whatever.
He won, right.
He won, but then...
And so I was there and figuring out, and September 11th happened.
Unfreaking believable.
And from the top floor of the office, I was working in a public affairs firm, I could see the Pentagon on fire.
Oh,
before it was on the news. I could see it burning. I'd rode my bike to work that day at this public affairs agency. And and I was thinking, what am I doing here? Like, I've had a lot of these moments where it's really this like life is short, right? You don't know what's going to happen the next day. We thought like the Whitehouse and the Capitol were about to be hit, It
was insanity.
There were tanks in the streets and I went home and I was like, man, what am I doing here? And I was seeing a guy and he was going to move to Jackson Hole and be a snowboard instructor.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, have fun.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that sounds good. That sounds a lot better when you're sitting in like a lockdown Washington, D.C. But then because of that, travel dropped, right? The economy had a dip after that. And then
big time.
I said, okay, I'm going to sell everything and I'm going to go to Jackson Hole too.
Wow.
And then he was like, oh, I might not I might not be able to be an instructor. They're not going to hire anyone else. And I was like, well, I'm going to still go. At that point, when we ended up both going. And snowboarding came back into my life in a really big way.
Jackson is like Revelstoke in steepness in like the views, the way that it looks. It's so there are some similarities there. And also, if it's not epic, it can be hell. Like you can really wish that you were not at the top of an insanely long, steep mountain, right?
Right.
But there's nothing better when it's the best.
Jackson Hole somewhere that you need to plan last minute. You need to look at the weather and be like, I will be there in 3 days if you have the ability to travel like that.
Well, Jackson Hole too really got on the map, I think, for me personally, because of Travis and because of what he was doing there. The early, late and now mid Brian Higuchi stuff, right? That Brian had kind of taken the Craig path and said, okay, after competition, I'm going to go somewhere where the snow is good, where it's a little more sleepy, quiet. It's not Southern California and the hustle and bustle of going into the magazines and schmoozing. It was like, this is where you go if you really want to shred.
That's amazing. Like, he was still pretty young when he made that choice.
Yeah.
I worked with him at a sushi restaurant in Jackson. He rolled sushi, and I'd hostess there like 1 or 2 days a week. So
that's so amazing.
I could hang out with friends and eat good food.
So he kind of just like ducked away from snowboarding altogether and just took it on as his personal thing. There are a number of years in there where he, was just working a job,
right,
starting a family, and living in Jackson.
Those were those years, right, when he married Lily. Yeah.
Yeah, man. What a place. So what do you get up to in Jackson?
I get to Jackson, and I had a job lined up to be a press secretary for a Senate campaign in Colorado the next spring. So I was like, I'll come for a winter. And I was DJing at the radio station, KMTN.
Oh, wow,
I was filling in for the morning host and doing weekends.
No way.
And I was bartending at the Mangy Moose, like après ski in evenings. And some nights I'd close down after a band, like they would have stopped plowing the roads. And you're going through like a blizzard, and I'd sleep for like 2 hours, and then I'd drive to the radio station.
Yeah, because morning radio starts at like 5 a.m.
So
or something.
early.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun though, radio, huh?
It's so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a podcast.
Sort of.
Right?
I seem to remember, I only know one DJ from the radio. Maybe I've talked to two, but they were always worried about getting fired. There was like something about being fired there.
I guess people get tired of your voice, or they don't think you're funny.
Right. And then they send you off to the country music station, or now you're top.
So I left that before they could fire me.
Yeah.
And I was pretty part-time.
Sounds like a fun gig, though.
It was fun. I drove the Sunday morning classic rock bus, which was super fun. And I did like Trash and Treasure, where like before Facebook Marketplace, people would call in and be like, I've got a dresser. And
really?
Yeah. And here's my number.
In Jackson Hole. Yes. I can't even imagine the things. Antlers and things.
Early 2000s. I can't even remember some of the funny things.
Yeah.
That was really fun. And then I got a job. There was one PR agency in town who did outdoor and action sports products, and they did PR. And as soon as I got to town, I met with the guy and I bugged him all winter long.
Nice.
And by February, he hired me.
That's amazing.
And then that's where I made the transition into outdoor PR.
So what does outdoor PR even entail? Like,
I mean, what I was doing there was like products, mostly trade shows. And that was that I did products, and we had like the portfolio of like the outdoor retailer trade show and ASR and different things. And I did that for a year or two. Like,
so setting up trade show booths, manning the trade show booths,
like showing, like getting press for things.
Oh,
like getting
right.
like a sneaker and outside buyer's guide, right?
Yeah. Got you.
And some of that was interesting, but I was like, I want to write more. I want to write for some of the magazines. But I really liked ASR. That was super fun because I'd leave Jackson Hole and I ran PR for that. And at the time,
was it in San Diego?
It was in San Diego. Yeah. I did a couple in Long Beach and then San Diego. And it was like, I'd go down and it's all the snowboard movie premieres in the fall.
That's the best time
it was
too.
So did you go to those shows?
I went to SIA in Vegas, but I remember in the media, Rankwit getting kicked out of the movie premieres, and like the premieres that they're doing are like, Fall Line Films and early Mac Dog stuff and standard films. Like it was really like, I just remember from the SIA trade show that the first couple times I went, there was a feeling like the ski industry was like not really that stoked that we were there. And then it got to the point where it almost felt like the ski industry wasn't there.
It was so quiet. It was so segregated.
It was segregated. SIA. And then the skiers were like, wait, we gotta get the snowboarders back in. We need to mix it up.
Yeah, the energy.
Yeah, because everything is happening in the snowboard hall.
Right.
Everything. There's like crazy stuff. They got like a school bus in there.
And that's what ASR was like. ASR was like the snowboard side everywhere.
Right, because it's skateboarding and surf.
And then there like eventually some moto. And there's like the bikini sections. Yep. It's,
swimwear. Surfwear.
Lots of surf.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And they had like big skate ramps and mega ramps in the middle of the trade show at ASR.
They still do that stuff, right? Like they build courses and...
Well, we don't have ASR. That ended...
What was the TSG big course? It was down in San Diego. Maybe they were just putting on their own event. Guys. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had, because the last ASR trade show, and we had Crossroads as well, that they brought in. They kept adding different components. But that ended in 2009 or 8.
Man,
the same. It was within like a couple weeks of Andy Irons dying, I remember, because it was like a lot, which was much more tragic than a trade show going away, of course.
Right,
but I just remember there was like a lot of things ending, and sad things.
Yeah, the trade show thing, it's difficult because people try and put them on. And I don't know why they put them on. I guess to make money, right? Like they're trying to hey, we can make an event, make money. We could get these guys to pay for their booths and stuff. And it'll be fun and it's exciting. But we used to schmooze so much. Like you would go down there and some PR person would pull you into the booth and you would write an order on the spot for 10 grand or something. And then you'd have this cool new product that maybe blows up, I
mean, I know why it went away. Yeah. I know why trade shows struggle. It's because independent retail struggles.
Yes.
Because of Amazon, because of online ordering, because brands go direct on their website. And those shows were made to support independent retailers coming in and buying and seeing new lines and making orders and finding brands. So as that went away, right, in like 08, 09, the industry started to shift.
Yep. Yeah. It was really sad to see it go. And the last few of them are just like not what they were before. Like it was like the hub of the community. Right. They do like Trans World Industry Awards.
Yeah, the rider polls.
All the riders would be
always
there.
In San Diego.
It was so awesome.
We moved it to SIA. It was so fun. And I think that's it, right? People love to hate it, right? It's expensive. It's a pain. You go there. You party hard. You got to buy a big booth. Brands are like, this is so expensive.
Right.
And then it went away and everyone goes, well,
what are we going to do?
We don't see each other anymore.
Yeah, we don't see each other
like this, that's right?
It. And then brands are like figuring out how much direct to consumer can we do without losing every retailer, and how many retailers do we really need?
Yeah.
What
that shift we saw, right? And that's the years that shift really started. And now it's sort of settled, right? We're in a spot for the moment.
I don't know. I feel it's coming back. I went to a trade show in the fall and it felt kind of rad again.
Good.
Yeah. Sweet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Feels like some brands took it all the way to the edge with direct to consumer, and now they're coming back and reinvesting in their brick and mortar supporters. Right. I hope. I don't know.
Too. I hope so too. I mean, I love a good shop.
There's
I want to go
categories.
in. I want to touch boards. I want to talk to the people that work there. And have that knowledge and look and feel things and have a community gathering space, right?
Yeah. So how do you meet Travis? Is he your first, like is that a transition period from general sporting into like very specific?
Well, I did,
Travis
the agency
stuff?
I had worked at had like their brands were like Arc'teryx and Power Bar, and they had a bunch of bike brands.
Oh, that's huge.
And I was like, I just started there and was figuring it out. I knew political PR.
Right.
And they were like, what are we going to do with you? But I think that place and Carson Stanwood, who founded that agency, just would find people who like loved the sport and were passionate about it and was like, I can teach you how to do this, right?
Easy.
Like I was one of the few people that had any PR experience there. But I was like, this is good, but I don't want to like necessarily just do gear PR. I want to write more. So I went on my own. Yep. And he was nice enough to let ASR stay with me. And they were my first client on my own.
Like ASR, the show.
The trade show.
The guys that run the show.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So the ASR trade show is my first standalone client, thanks to him and him sharing that.
Oh, that's so nice and so rad.
And then I wrote a lot. So I'd write for I wrote a ton for Trans World Business, Trans World. I wrote some for Outside, ESPN.
What are some of the articles that I would have seen?
Gosh, I wrote a lot of cover. I liked business writing. So I did a lot of cover pieces for Trans World Business. I'm trying to think of some of the good ones. Oh, I haven't thought about these in a while. I got to do a road trip for ASR. They sent me up the whole California coast, and I stopped at independent retailers the whole way.
Oh,
and coming in from
rad.
Jackson Hole, it was such an epic experience. It was like me and like some dumb like rented Mustang convertible.
Oh, that's even better. That's actually better. The Coast Highway and a Mustang convertible.
Like a rented Mustang convertible, like just seeing these places, right? And I'd get into Pismo. And so I wrote a lot about that, the kinds of shops I was seeing and the people who ran them and why they ran them and what was unique about it and how they were connected to their community. I wrote a lot of trends stories.
Do you write anything about step-in back in the day?
Oh, for sure. I covered bindings and binding trends and snowboard trends.
I read Trends World Business. I kind of liked it better at that middle stage than just seeing the guy in the sky, blue sky, white snow, grabbing his board.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
And we're missing that right now. We don't really have...
Yeah, we don't have any of that.
We don't have a trade at all.
No, it's so
Shop
bizarre.
Eat Surf a little bit.
Eric just told me about that this weekend. He's like, you got to check out Shop Eat Surf.
Yeah.
And
I'm what Tiffany Montgomery's doing. And yeah.
Where was she from?
She was at the Orange County Register and she was covering business. She's like a real journalist. And she started this blog and then she's grown it and it's been bought by, I don't know if it's Emerald or Nielsen or I think it was actually the parent company of ASR maybe. But don't quote me on that.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, it's interesting the media people because Jason Ford was a pro rider forever. And then he's something to do with like ESPN and then he went to somewhere else. It's like,
he's my neighbor.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's so nice. Well, we did his interview at his house.
Oh, cool.
And I was just like, oh man, you make some good moves. Well, his story with Ride was just nuts. He scrambled all his money together to get the buy-in for Ride that eventually went public. And at one point he was a millionaire from stock. From Ride.
Good for Jason.
It just went like, psh,
he's
like
a beautiful snowboarder.
Oh, he was always like, he was like a gorgeous model in the magazines when we were a kid.
Right.
We
ran into his son's about my son's age and we ran into them in Mammoth. There was a crew of like families from where we are and we rode with them. And my son, I noticed he'll lock in. He likes to ride a track. That's how I taught him to snowboard. I was like, just stay in my line. When I turn, you turn, right? And he's got a decent turn, my son. But I watched him ride behind Jason for a day and he's fast enough that he'd kind of the kids, like kind of keep up. And I watched him throw his arm up the way Jason did on a turn.
Oh, nice.
And now I watch him turn and I'm like, oh, you like just watching Jason and turning behind him. I was like, you kind of picked that up.
Jason's from the Burton team when the Cross M coach was there. Like, so he was classically trained, by like a trainer, which is rad. There's certain people that can do it.
Part of the turn.
I followed in your turns today, and I was like, oh, she's got good. You're not fish turning, swishing around. You're riding your edge.
I'm a little
That's
lazy.
epic.
This was day. I haven't had a great season. Day 6.
Yeah, but I mean, you're at the best spot in the world.
Yeah, I love this mountain.
Yeah.
I love this community. Revelstoke, like they've just really made us a home for natural selection here.
When was the first natural selection at Revy? 2 years ago?
This is our 4th year.
3 years ago.
But it's our 3rd years in that venue.
Yes.
So the first year we were live from Boulder Park.
Yep.
Which was we helicoptered into.
Oh, wow.
And went live like from 20 kilometers, like no roads, nothing.
Right.
Did a full live broadcast.
In the middle of the middle of nowhere.
That was pretty extraordinary.
What a nightmare.
It was
so many things could go wrong.
It was. You'll need to talk to Liam Griffin about that, right?
Yeah.
How we pulled that off, how the technology. It was something like that couldn't have been done 5 years earlier, and it really takes like people like Travis that are like, why not? Let's find a way. And Liam, who's like, all right, I'll help find a way.
Yeah.
And those two together managed to pull off something like what we saw in Boulder Park.
That's super sick. Yeah. And so the event has the qualifiers for the event happened 2 days ago on Tuesday. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the first day of comp, right?
First day of comp.
Yeah.
Right. It's not qualifiers. It's the first day of the competition.
It's the first day of the
because
comp.
it's an elimination contest. Like people move on.
Right. So it's just you're going and we have that new bracket format cut down just to make sure like you don't lose 2 riders that should be in the final round in the first round. And I think the new bracket format really addresses that.
It worked. Yeah, it seemed to work. And the snow was incredible. The riders have all reported it was awesome. No glitches in the broadcast, nobody with a hot mic saying some crazy stuff.
This is let's see, what year is this? The first one was 2021 because they ran the test event 2020 right before COVID. And then our first year, it was like the only event happening in 2021. It was right before the vaccine, and I remember that year, I went, they were putting only small groups in the gondola. No one wanted to ride on chairlifts, even outside together. And
which is weird. The gondola, you would think that would be scarier than the...
Right. Small group. It would be only your exact group.
Oh, so right.
It was, and somehow we were like, well, let's run an event in the middle of the pandemic.
That's nuts.
The snow was phenomenal. And so that was 2021. Now we're 2026. So we're... 6 years.
Yeah. That's pretty sick. That's great. Okay, so how do you get involved with Travis in the first place? Was he the first snowboard? Right, because you're nobody has a PR agent. There's
snowboarders have a PR agent.
Snowboarders
I've
in the world
never
that
been
have.
Technically his publicist.
Okay,
I've just worked on basically everything big he's done since right after the first natural selection. So I was there with Quicksilver. And right after that, I started working on That's It, That's All. But I got to be out with the crew when they were doing Community Project. They were out filming. So I was out with Gooch and
wow.
And I was covering the story for the Snowboard Journal for Jason Ford's magazine.
Perfect.
About this guy named Pop Tart who built a metal portable ramp. Kicker that he would move around with a snowmobile south of town. It was this child actor. I don't know where he is now.
Pop-Tart? Really?
This kid named Pop-Tart.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I heard about
That's
it
amazing.
and I was like, what a funny story. And he had welded a giant metal kicker and he would get try to talk to friends and get people together to tow out this kicker and move it so you don't have to build a cheese wedge.
I get it, but still... What the hell?
And he was a wild man. And I broke my arm in 16 places. I shattered it in Park City.
Oh, no.
And I had this huge cast.
That doesn't seem possible. Your ulna or your...
On both sides.
Oh, man.
Right? I fell off a rail. I don't ride rails, but I decided to ride a rail.
Yeah, that's why I don't ride rails either.
So I was out with Pop-Tart, actually, and he linked up with the Community Project crew because you need multiple people to move this metal ramp.
And they used it in that
They
film?
didn't, but he was like, all right, guys. So I go down at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. south of Jackson for we drive for an hour and a half. And then I'm on a snowmobile, but I've got this broken arm, right? And I'm holding on to Pop-Tart on the sled to go cover this story. And we're chasing after the Community Project guys.
Yeah.
And they're all filming. And then after a while, he's like, can we hit my ramp too? So they go and they hit the ramp and I write that story. And then I had sort of met them and I was following the Community Project. So I wrote about that for Snowboarder and I interviewed Travis for that.
Rad.
Travis and Kurt. And I met them. And then at the same time, I guess from there, I ended up getting hired by Quicksilver and then Red Bull to do That's It, That's All. His first major feature.
Right. Because if Travis is putting together That's It, That's All, which was it still might be the best snowboard movie that's ever been made. Because of what was during and after, before and after, they were breaking genre and they were creating something that was visually stunning to a non-snowboarder even.
Right.
And it would require a PR agent.
And that's the vision and drive of Travis.
Yeah.
With just the creative genius of Kurt Morgan.
Right.
And you put them together.
Right.
And they were able to break the mold of what was being done in action sports film.
Right. Because Travis had done a bunch of stuff. At one point he had Harrison Ford in something.
Oh, that was in a Bluebird film with Willie
so
McMillan.
Early. Right. But only Travis, right? Like,
Right.
oh, there's
And Willie, that was like Jackson, because Harrison Ford would hang out in the VC, the basement cafe in Jackson, and drink with all of us.
And these guys would just say, like, what if you were in our movie? And it worked.
Like,
oh
he's
my
down there
God.
like snowboarding. He'd hang out in the VC. And
That's amazing.
I think that was probably Willie McMillan who put him in there.
That makes sense. I love Willie. The best.
So we did, so I got to do That's It, That's All. And that's where that one premiered at ASR.
Yep.
In the first one, which, thinking of the scale of that film, but we did a sneak preview for media and had like the Soho House in New York City.
Yeah.
And through like this epic party and viewing. And that's where we started to up level like the approach.
Was that it? Did That's It, That's All go on tour, or was it the
Art of Flight?
The Art of Flight. It was the next one.
Massive tour.
I think in Canada, the Prime Minister was there at our one, at the Vancouver stop. I think Justin Trudeau went and saw it.
Oh, was he really?
I think so.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
And New York for Art of Flight, we did at the Beacon Theater.
Oh my God.
We had a
Legendary.
red carpet with media stretching like all the way down Broadway. And, Justin Timberlake was there and Owen Wilson was there. And it was sold out times of, 1,000. And
oh, man.
And that moment, going into the Beacon and the lineup and the presentation in the Beacon, which is so iconic. That was a moment. Anyone who was there remembers that as a moment where it was like, wow, this is snowboarding right now.
Right.
It was a level we hadn't seen.
Rock star.
It was rock star
status. And Travis hadn't become a kind of rock star yet. That would propel him into that zone. Like he was an incredible rider. When you go back and watch everything that he had done, but there were other people, David Benedict and other people that would stand out.
The Art of Flight
in that way.
I think, when we did That's It, That's All, there was so much media.
Yeah.
So we went to New York and we did press, and we went from like Sports Illustrated to Complex to Vice to this to that. And we just did press, so much press, Men's Health, Men's Journal.
Oh, man.
I remember having stacks. I think we went to Rolling Stone on that one. And it might have been the fourth phase where we did like Playboy, the homepage of Playboy about the fourth phase in this big interview. Like it was the amount of press we were stacking. Vanity Fair. We got Vanity Fair for the Art of Flight, and then for the fourth phase, a full spread.
Holy
GQ.
geez.
I had them up in Alaska.
What the hell?
And that's the level of media that we were getting at that point, right?
Yeah, as a snowboarder, I just knew that the premiere, we hadn't had a really good premiere in a while. And the premieres had kind of fallen off, and they'd been going to smaller and smaller venues.
Right.
And poorly attended. And this was at like a theater, like a 2,000 seat theater, and it was sold out.
In Vancouver too.
People were calling and saying like,
theater.
do you have a hookup for a ticket? I'm like, I don't even have a ticket. Well, how are you going to get in? Like, it was like,
red carpets at all of them.
Yeah, and we had no idea. I had no idea that it was also covered by, Vanity Fair and GQ and Wired magazine.
And that's
whatever,
the level, right? Wired for sure.
Yeah, huge.
And that's where it grew, right?
Yeah.
Beyond, we went out of the core. We were in the mainstream.
That was it. So like after
and
that.
globally, right? The tour went out. And that's Red Bull too, right?
Red Bull
Media
giant.
House and people like Ben Bryan, right? And Charlie Rosine were willing to also invest.
Was that the start of Red Bull Media, or was Red Bull Media existing and then Travis was like, hey, I know it would be great for you guys?
That's a really good question. And I can't remember the timeline. I do know right as we were going from That's It, That's All to Art of Flight, what I saw, right? Because then I was only working on those films with them. I've done more since with them.
Yeah.
But they really ramped up. They brought on guys like Ben Bryan and more directors. And eventually, like Clark Fiennes, who's working on Natural Selection Tour now, had guided for Art of Flight, ended up working at Red Bull Media House and producing. So it grew that side of their filmmaking in-house.
Yeah.
But they, a lot of people, and this is something I see a lot in my job, they spend a lot of money. They'll spend, $500,000, or more, and years and years and years making a project.
Yeah.
And it gets done and they're like, now what?
Right.
What do I do with it? How do I get it out there? How do I distribute it? Who wants it? Who's going to buy it? And the documentary market's really tough. And I think that's somewhere where Red Bull Media House, they had the resources, but they also had the vision to say, we're going to take a big film and we're not going to stop when it's done. How are we going to tour it? How are we going to publicize it? How are we going to invest in the other side of it? And they had a team that I would help, that I came in on the publicity side for, that did that for films, where that's unusual, especially now.
Yeah, because they started Red Bull TV at some point.
Right.
It's probably a little after Art of Flight, but I can remember feeling like, oh my God, Art of Flight, which is a movie. It was still, I bought the movie. I bought it.
Yeah, Travis was like, everyone needs to buy a Blu-ray and watch this on a Blu-ray.
That's right. Yeah, it was like Blu-ray. That's right.
And find the biggest TV you can, right?
That might be the last thing that I bought, right? But I remember Red Bull TV, they had it for free, and I was like, wow, what?
Right.
Like, that's a $40 value or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm like looking at it going, wait, this is a free channel that has like an epic movie. That I just didn't understand the distribution or like the viewership.
It streams free on there still.
Yeah,
right
still now. And
well,
it's
it comes
probably
back. It came off, and now it is streaming there.
And it probably does really, really well because it's an amazing.
I'll pull it up from time to time.
Yeah,
watch it.
me too.
Right?
Same. It's so fun. There's like a fun through line through the whole thing, and it's groundbreaking snowboarding. But it like we'd never had helicopters filming helicopters before. Like there was none of that.
In some ways, I was like, oh, too many helicopters.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm explaining that, right? And,
yeah.
And eventually, one of my other jobs was at Protect Our Winners and with Jeremy Jones, right?
Which is the other side of the whole coin, right? I remember going up to Travis, maybe after Depth Perception, or I can't remember. Yeah, maybe at Depth Perception, and being like, you need a Foley guy because those sounds of people snowboarding, they're not snowboarding. It sounds like someone going like,
well, it's Kurt Morgan, right? Like who's a musician and just like.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's taking me out of it. Let me mic up the guys, and then you can have, authentic stuff. And he was just looked at me like I was like from another planet. He's like, we love the sounds. Like, we love the whole thing.
Right.
Like, of course, if you're working on a project, you're going to you made it the way that you want it to be.
Travis is a perfectionist. I wouldn't say that he would watch it and say, there's nothing I would change. Right. He's probably thinks back to it and he's like, oh, I wish we'd gotten this or that. Yeah. Just knowing him, like, how do I do it better? How do I do it bigger?
Totally.
How do we keep improving?
You guys mic'd up the riders last year, right? There was one year where it was just like so much profanity, which I'm like, this is dope.
They're mic'd,
this is awesome.
Like a sound guy comes and gets a mic off someone as soon as they're at the bottom of the venue.
Sick. And then, so they've got, that's amazing.
And natural selection,
Still doing it now.
Yeah.
Because that was a first. There was never mic'd up competitors in anything that I have ever watched. Yeah. I'm not a sports guy though, so.
I mean, and like the racing drone, right, that they were talking about at the Olympics.
Yes.
We had that invented by Gab and, Liam and Uncle Toad's Media Group and Natural Selection. First time we had that in competition was at the 21 Return of the Natural Selection Tour.
Holy
we launched
geez.
the tour. And that was the racing drone.
Yeah.
And that was a first, right? And then there's been films out with it now. Now it's in the Olympics. But we were the first, and people hadn't seen that angle. And like on my end, I sent that to SportsCenter for a top play. And they're like, what is this footage, right? And it makes top plays, and we make top plays.
Really?
Because they're seeing that footage.
Natty Select gets into top plays in SportsCenter.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And that drone angle, we've had 2 New York Times features, and they'll run on the homepage. That first year they ran that angle of Mark McMorris's winning run.
Yep.
Huge on the New York Times homepage.
Oh my God.
With our racing drone angle.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say our like it's mine.
I understand.
I understand.
Yeah. Well, working on this thing, it's obviously a big family. Everybody is really tight. See you guys passing each other in the village.
We are
running around in groups.
We're a small crew.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm one PR communications person.
Yep.
And I have friends that work on like X Games or Snow League, and there's 6 or 7 of me.
Right.
And when you look at the press numbers, they're fairly similar. Like in the
you guys
coverage
are
and the
efficient.
messaging.
Yeah.
So we're still, in many ways, Natural Selection is still a startup.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I heard.
And we run lean and we run fast.
Yeah, I heard the numbers for Snow League and what he's raising to run the thing, and a bit of the numbers for this, and I'm like, I'm in awe. I'm like, snowboarding to me is like duct tape and road trips in a beat up car or whatever. But there is a part of it that's like big money and big viewership, and natural selection has a pretty, has their thumb on it, I think.
I think for as high tech as it is and as ambitious as it is, it's really authentic.
Mm-hmm.
We're snowboarding real snow on real mountains.
Right.
Of course, most people at home, and I don't ride the way these guys ride on the mountain, but we do, we come down the mountain on snow. We try to hit a rock.
I notice there's a lot more of it going on after natural selection. Like people are looking for that stuff at their local mountains.
And that's like a good fit, right? Like Revelstoke is so authentic. It's not like this fake resort town. It's a real mountain town. It's authentic.
Right.
And I think the way we try to present snowboarding is also real and authentic and in the mountains. And you get your hands on it. And the goal, it's led by Mother Nature. And the goal is to inspire people to get outside. Right?
Sick.
You get outside, you're back out in the mountains, you're off screens, you're connecting, and then you're inspired to protect some of that and be a better person, live a bigger life. Yeah.
And when you brought in the componentry of stewardship for the land and the local people, that was just so rad. Super good.
And educational opportunities. It's the geology of these mountains and the weather systems.
And who are the people that lived here before?
Right.
Like, this is sick stuff. Like, it's really, it opened this year for me, the live event coverage with a story of Travis and Shin in Japan.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that was just, it wasn't an ad. It was like this lifestyle piece about this specialty guide person that it takes to do this cool thing. It was a bit behind the scenes. It was a bit like, in the scene. It was dope.
And recognizing the characters and the personalities.
That's the big thing. Like, I know Todd Richards talked about the X Games just blowing it with influencers a couple years ago. And he's been attacked by the gaming community when they added gaming. But it really felt bad to watch X Games stuff for me. Like, I was like, I can't watch this. It's insulting.
I mean, there's a place for it, right? Like there's that has its own lane. What I appreciate about here is like this is snowboarding.
This is snowboarding.
Like,
this is
like when you watch what's in the Olympics, it's incredible. These athletes are incredible. They're working so hard. The level snowboarding at is mind blowing now and impressive.
Yeah.
But the average person can't even begin to fathom riding a super pipe, much less spinning 4 and 5 rotations in a super pipe. Like,
the crazy thing about
it's gone beyond like what the essence of the sport.
I'm not watching the Olympics.
As many people know it.
I consider myself, part of the community, and my mom's watching it, and I don't think she's a part of the community. I don't know if she's understanding what's going on. I think it's pretty easy for people to be like, woo, like kind of like gymnastics was. Like, you're like, I don't know what that's called, but that person should win because they went the biggest.
Watching Chloe Kim's run is so impressive, right? Scotty James, like what they're doing is impressive. What we're doing here is completely different. And I was talking to Mark McMorris after his run, and I was so happy for him. He's been competing in these for a long time, and to finish up at the Olympics, all of that training, get to come here and make the finals day.
Sick.
I was really happy for him. And he said, like, this event's really important. Like, it's your peers, the industry, the way you ride here, getting to take these tricks, ride powder, getting to ride another day of this. To him, he's like, this is incredibly meaningful.
So there was a Red Bull event at UBC. I put it in the feed for FNRad. I snuck in there and filmed it. And some student asked him, like, of all your wins, what is there one that stands out? And he was like, yeah, natural selection. No hesitation.
When he won in Jackson. Yeah. It was really impressive.
He was like, that just, I've competed in the X Games and the Olympics. I've won everywhere.
Well, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's saying something big, when
right. And Zoe Sadowski-Sinnott's here, and she's traveling the world. She's got most decorated female.
Yeah, and she took it by storm. That was pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's really strong and consistent. She was in line in Stoke Chair when it closed.
Really?
She was right over next to us when we got back down.
Oh, no way. That's rad. Yes.
She'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be insane because they'll probably open the bowl, right? If they open the bowl, then it's going to be just...
They were bombing it.
Yep. Yeah. And it was in the sun. It looked great. Mm-hmm. And it's snowing. Unfreaking believable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So were you involved in the Wayward project at all?
I wasn't, but I watched it last night.
How
and it's
great was that?
So impressive.
Yeah.
My roommate here in Revelstoke, Cersei Wallace,
Yeah.
executive produced that.
Yeah.
And Mia Lamson directed it. There were so many things I never even had heard of. There was a lot of things I remember, and
Yes.
I was like, that was like a huge moment. I remember that memory. I loved seeing Victoria Jalous ride again.
Sure.
She rides the mountain so beautifully, and we haven't seen her
Unbelievable.
snowboard in so long. And
Yep.
that I had her pro model to face, when I
So
lived in
rad.
Jackson Hole. I
Yeah.
was so happy to get like a woman's free ride board
Yeah.
that was women specific, which
Of
was
course.
so unique when I lived there.
Women's free ride, right? Like, because it was, yeah.
Right?
I remember working the shop just being like, how are these companies not making more women's stuff? Like, it sells out first. There's not enough of it. Cersei's boot, like, it outsold like all the other boots because there was no other competition for the boot.
Right.
It was like the only women's boot. So it just went off. And it's like, do you really need to even ask?
Right,
if
like
you
they
make
talk about
women's stuff?
Shannon Dundowning's board, right?
Yeah.
And her board and how it sold. So there was a demand there, right? Like we don't want our ankles coming out of the, 2 sizes too big men's
Right.
airwalk boots
Right.
anymore. We want to actually be able to snowboard and have some gear
That
that
was
fits.
so nuts. Yeah.
But that movie was really impressive.
It's powerful because it really is like women are a huge, huge part of snowboarding. I like that it opened by saying Sherman hit the first snurfer for his daughters. So like the first people in snowboarding were girls,
Right.
which is awesome.
This isn't a gender-specific sport. There's no reason
Not
why
at all.
as many women
Yeah.
can't be in the market. And it featured a lot of the women that are really leading here. Cersei, right?
Yep.
Robin Van Gyn, who
Yep.
has R&D now, and she was so heavy in the movie. Elena Height, who's been just such a revolutionary force. I mean, I would never bet against her dropping to any natural selection venue ever.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
And watching her and her progression and slope style and in half pipe, not slope style and half pipe in the film, and to what she's achieved in the big mountains, right? Touring and with Jones. But then, of course, here.
Yeah. And
Season after
Donna
season.
talking about stuff, and Hannah Beeman, like,
And Hannah's
Yeah.
here. She's our own host talent. So
oh yeah, she's
it's
here,
also,
right?
Natural selection, there's always more to do, but how many of those women we've pulled into different roles and, even when they're not competing anymore.
Yeah. Well, so the Baker Bank slalom has been going since 85. It doesn't run every year because of weather or whatever. And it didn't run this year, which is sad. But it's run by women, which is awesome. And it's a race. That's a different thing.
Right.
It's really difficult to judge. And the judges have had, like, I know some of them. I called Chad Otterstrom after last year's, and he was just exhausted. Like, it's a difficult thing.
This event,
natural selection, is so hard to judge, right?
And they're friends with all these riders.
Right,
and
which
they
gives
know
you
how
a whole
hard it is
other
what they're
thing.
doing.
Right.
And I know I did talk to some of the judges after the first night, and they're going, "We feel like we did good, but like just exhausted by the decision making and the thinking and the not wanting to make a mistake because it's within 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 points,
right?
And the lines are so subjective. It's hard to compare even like a half pipe run where you're like hit this many spins this high.
Right.
Like this is
because if
it's
you're
apples
blasting
to oranges
down fast, and you're really confident, you get a couple of really
I don't
huge
envy them.
things in there.
I'm happy to stay doing my job.
Same. Yeah. I have ADHD or something. I don't think I could watch for that long without going off on a tangent. I don't know.
Right.
But
they lock in.
Yeah. Oh man. And okay. So natural selection being in Revelstoke, and you get up here and you're in, getting a beer or getting some food, and all around you are these legends of the sport.
Right.
You got UC, who's up here for judging too, right? Ika's here. Bjorn, too many. I'm going to forget like people. JF,
DCP's judging.
Yeah.
We like to have rider judges.
Yeah.
Dara.
Yeah.
Here we have a women's judge. She's not just judging women, but we
yeah.
need to have at least one woman. And ideally it's 50-50, right? Eventually. Judging. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I
The
mean, we were at
women's
the media event
yeah.
last night, and your
Yeah.
buddies walked by, and they're like, "Who's in there?" Right? And I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey guys, this is close." They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna come in anyway."
Oh, that was Mark Gallup, who's an
it
absolute
was Mark
legendary.
Gallup. I
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So that's Gallup, and then
Oh,
Bayet
right.
Steiner, who owns
Okay.
Bella Coola Heli,
Okay.
and is the
I didn't realize that
is
was
it
Mark.
the producer behind, or at least the videographer behind Bored with the World and a bunch
Okay.
of other like Craig Kelly era
Well, I
stuff.
should have opened the door for them. They came in anyway.
They did, because they're like, oh, it's a snowboard thing. We're just gonna waltz in, of course, like because they're from that '90s era
Right.
snowboarding thing. You can't keep a lot of this stuff. That was funny. Oh my god. Yeah.
So, I think like when I look at what projects I've taken on
Yes.
and, why I do this, right? Like, because, I could make more money doing something else. Right?
Is it the same for you as it is for everyone else in the snowboard industry, that we're below what you should be getting paid?
And so it stays like this, where I'm like, well, it's a powder day and the stoke chair is going to open. And,
Oh yeah.
and I have to remind myself, like I could definitely do 15-hour days at my computer every day I'm here.
Okay.
Easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
But I'm like, you know what? I do this because I love snowboarding. I really love it. I love this sport. And that's why I'm choosing to do this with my time and my life.
Yeah.
Right? I love these sports and these characters and these people and their dreams and helping them elevate them and make sure more people know about it,
That is amazing. Like, before you introduced yourself and told me what you did, I don't think I would have ever even thought that there was a PR person in snowboarding bringing it to all these like huge media outlets.
And
like,
there's some other really good publicists, right?
Sure,
Like there's
sure.
Abby and Taryn at Burton. They're
Okay,
great.
yeah.
Abby's been there forever. And she's really connected.
I met
they're-
Taryn, yeah, when I
and
was there.
Taryn,
She's
yeah.
so sweet. She
Yeah.
just had a kid last year,
Second
right?
one.
Second kid.
She had a second kid
Holy
recently.
smokes. Oh, wow.
Did she have it? Yes. I think she had the second. I know we're friends on Instagram.
Yeah, totally.
I don't get to see them all the time. But we did I had met Abby. So Donna had done, she rented out Baldface for a week. And I got to go on the first trip. She rented out and had all women, all industry women,
wow,
and invited
no
us up
way.
there.
How
And
nice.
This was, probably almost 20 years ago.
No.
Yeah.
That's
it was early.
amazing.
It was the first all women's trip they ever had. And I was there with some of my buddies, like Annie Fast and Tina Dixon was there.
Wow, cool.
Abby was there. Hannah Teeter was,
Sick.
or Hannah Teeter was there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who else, but it was this really awesome crew from around the world of women that work in snowboarding
Oh,
that she
sick.
brought together. So I met Abby there.
Yep.
And then all these years later, we got to work on Dear Rider together because Red Bull Media House produced that. And obviously it was.
That was, I watched that with my wife. What a movie. I mean, after it came out, I was talking about it on mic the whole time. Just being like, if you haven't seen this movie, you need to just see it, right?
It's a really good film and just makes you appreciate his contributions and also made me feel like really grateful for snowboarding, right? I think
Right.
that's one of the messages you take away is how
Totally.
much this is just a simple sport, but how it can change and enrich your life in ways you could never imagine.
Yeah, you've already talked about it today, like just being out on hill. Like, oh, oof. Yeah, and you're like, I could work, but it was the same. This morning I woke up, I knew I was going to do that. And while I'm waiting in the stoke chair lineup, I'm like, I should go down and try and wrangle some guests for the show. I need to get cracking on this, especially I'm losing this rad space tonight or tomorrow. And I'm like, but stoke chair though.
Right.
And do I regret that? I would never in a million years. It was like so rad.
Right.
That's why we do it.
I think, so I lost my husband 6 years ago to cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And he was a wonderful, wonderful human in every way. And he was actually a filmmaker. He edited for TGR for years and then later
Oh, wow.
at Brain Farm. And he
Wow.
directed projects. And
Damn.
he did series with Eric Rohner. And he did the every third Thursday series with Signal Snowboards.
Oh, that was awesome.
I made that with them. He did all this cool. And he was just this creative, fun visionary. And, he would ask in the mornings, right? He'd go, hey, let's go surf. And, I'd be like, oh, working, right? Working. I have deadlines. I got to get out this press release. It's very important,
Yeah.
right? No, I can't go with you. We surfed together a lot. We had buckets of fun. But, when he passed, I learned a lot from him. He was a really good person, and he was really wise, and he got wiser and deeper. And, in his final years with cancer and watching how he moved through life, watching priorities and I still work a lot, but it shifted my priorities a little bit. And life's short. Like, am I going to remember in 2 months if I spend the 2 hours this way or this way, right? You still got to get your work done.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I always was a little bit this way, but in his life and his loss, I learned to really seize the day and make the most
sweet.
of it. And that was sort of in my head in Stoke Chair. I was going, if I were to die tomorrow, right? Memento mori, like in Stoicism. If I were to die tomorrow, would I remember taking a pow lap if it opens in the next 30 minutes, or like rushing down to scroll on Instagram for 15 minutes and then like maybe like work on something else?
That is one of the hardest things about online, either like if I'm editing at my computer, anything, like working with computers, posting crap on your phone. Oh God, I hate it. I need someone to do it for me. But it's like the temptation to not do the work. You're scrolling. I need to get this, and then you buy. You
go to look for something, and then you're like, something else, and so those moments when you can be outside, right, and conditions are aligned, and good people are around you, to be able just to be really present.
Yeah,
it's something we all work on. But
big time.
That was a moment today in Stoke Chair where I was like,
That's awesome. And then, you got those turns. Like, obviously, you got the turns
right.
Like what I got, where you're going through trees and untracked powder, and it's deep and it's good visibility. Oh,
and to do a job like yours or like mine, like you authentically need to really care and love about what you do.
That's a thing. Right? It's a thing.
You
isn't
do. It's, I've met plenty of people that do a similar job to mine who don't love it or do it.
It's just
and they
a job,
try to talk
right?
about it, and you're like, it doesn't work in the same way. In my opinion, right? I'm biased.
Of course.
And I'm not a professional snowboarder.
Sure. Right.
But I do love it. And I love these people, and I want to tell their stories, and I'm impressed by what they do, right? Like in some ways I'm the biggest fan. you know? And to share that energy out.
That's really rad. And to have a job inside that space, I mean, it's an honor. It's a privilege, whatever. It's, we live in a very privileged time that we can take something that we love. And I mean, that's what I tried to impart on my kids. I'm like, at first I tried to force them to be snowboarders. I was like, this will change your life. Right. This is something great. And then I settled on like, find your great thing.
Right.
Like, I'll be happy if you are passionate about something. Like, I'm passionate about snowboarding. I mean, you can't possibly be that passionate, but maybe.
Because it's not going to be as good as snowboarding.
There's no way. And also, I'm a fanatic. I don't know where I got that from, but they've got their things. Right. And so then that gives me confidence that they've got like kind of a true north. You know what I mean? Really,
that's it, right? Mm-hmm. I think like if you can be lucky enough to find a passion, period.
Yes.
Right? Or multiple, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And have that enrich your life and the community around you. That's so lucky. And if you can make it your job too.
And then if you can make it your job and you're making it better for other people, like that's the real cheat code, is if you're like helping other people discover snowboarding or just get outside, get off their phones, like you feel good at the end of the day.
Right.
Then the job's not the grind of, I don't know. Was it a grind working for like Clinton, or was it just
that was so surreal. I was every day, it's like, Aretha Franklin's getting like the Medal of the Humanities today. And like, I'm taking like press to like Aretha Franklin and Clinton. And it was so surreal.
That seems just, I cannot believe that was your life.
And then years later, I got to work for the Obama administration.
No way. Really?
Yeah, I was working. After we did The Art of Flight, and then I did Supernatural.
Yeah.
And The Art of Flight was a sensation, right?
Yeah.
It was, and the media coming out of it. I had a lot of good job offers. I had like really, and I was doing deep communications, my company, and enjoying it. And I had plenty of clients. I was working with Mervyn, and I was working with Quick Snow still then. And Jones. I was doing Jones Snowboards PR.
Rad.
I had like such fun clients, but I had an opportunity to learn. And, so I interviewed at different places. I went into the music industry. And from there, I started working on arts advocacy. And when I left there, I went to work for President Obama's Committee for the Arts and Humanities on like an arts program, right? So I found myself back at the White House for that.
No way.
And that I loved the work. I was so passionate about it.
Yeah.
But when the fourth phase, actually I did the fourth phase at the same time I was there. But I was in a full-time job in between, and I left that when I'm like, okay, Travis is doing another film. That's my cue. I'm going to have to go back.
That's so sick.
And do that. And we had this meeting where we were planning it in Mexico with Red Bull. And I remember thinking like, oh, these are my people. I feel really good here.
That's rad. That's super rad.
So I had that year where I worked on Obama's Turnaround Arts program that Michelle Obama was the head of. And I did the fourth phase for Red Bull and Ian Walsh's film, Surf Film Distance Between Dreams that year. And I was like, this can't get any better. Like, how did this happen?
That's so sick. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks.
Is there anything that you had on your thing that we need to get to? Let's hit it.
I think like, because I'm probably the first PR person you've had on.
100% you are. Definitely.
I did all right.
Oh, you killed it. Yeah.
I never do interviews, right? I set them up. I think, what my main goal is that I want to help tell good stories.
Sick.
And I want to look at them like a journalist. And how do I hear someone's story, and how do we make it consumable in a way that we can get it to more people, right?
Yep.
And how do I connect you with those people? Like having the relationships, and it's finding the right stories and connecting people. And, this job lets me do that for people who I really respect and care about. And I'm really grateful to get to do it.
That's so rad. Yeah, you're working with, obviously, like you said, a small group of passionate people on like this super ambitious thing. And you keep pulling it off. It's awesome.
I mean, they do it, right? I get to tell people about it. Right? But I can look at it and go, well, what are you doing now? And what's this? And how do we use that story and reach more people this way and expand snowboarding and this event to more people?
I can't believe how lucky I was. And unlucky Cersei was. She left the line, heard that it opened, rushed to go back up there. I had just come down. I missed the thing. So I went. I'm like, oh, you can catch a stoke chair? That was awesome. I'd love to have another lap on that. So we go all the way up. And in the Gandhi, who was it that had it? I'm gapping on his name now. But he had the, like a promo or an edit that's going to go in the live feed about the music. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's so unbelievably well done. And it blends the humor and like great riding shots and like the camaraderie between the riders. Even though they're up against each other, they're not, I don't know that they have rivalries where they're like, icing each other out like Jimmy Scott and Sean Palmer or something.
Oh, the music, the Turtle Box edit.
The Turtle Box edit.
Yeah, I heard that was really funny.
Unbelievable. By the time this comes out, it'll be a part of the show and people will have watched it. And those are some of my favorite parts of natural selection, is that there's a creativity in there that you're a part of and that you're getting out into the world that is
like there's fun, right?
It's fun.
There's educational elements, there's fun elements. It's not, the riding is very, very serious, but there's
Super
a lot
serious.
of creativity, and we have an incredible production team. Like the caliber of editors. I took a lap today with Rose Core, who directed Kimi Fasani's film,
Sick.
Butterfly in a Blizzard.
Amazing.
So her and I worked on that together, and she's here. I think she might have cut that piece, actually.
That is amazing.
And Jeremy Grant, who's a long time mountain bike. He came out of mountain bike director, just really he's in Nelson, and he's here helping like run the production and those kind of edits and
so sick
the creative pieces.
One of the things we should touch on before, if you've got 2 more minutes, is natural selection has gone outside of just snowboarding.
Right.
They started with surf. And
I love watching.
And I know in surfing that there is an exciting format for high school kids, because I don't know who I heard it from, probably Dave Downey or something, that the high school teams compete.
Oh yeah, my son's
together.
on a middle school team.
Oh, that's
He's a
so
sixth
rad.
grader. It's his first year.
Wait, now they've brought that down into middle school even?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so rad. And the format's great, right? Because it's a community format. Like it's like the whole team.
Those are really fun because surfing's so individual. They're always surfing against each other. And here they're like, each time you make another heat, your team gets points.
So rad.
It's so fun. And it's like less serious. Yeah. My son's on the national champion middle school team, Oak Crest, last year.
Oh, wow. Congrats. That's amazing.
So that format's there in high school. There's a lot of different levels to the pro surfing. Yeah. So last year, in one season, we announced it, a year and a half ago in the fall. Natural Selection launched ski. We evolved Proving Grounds into Natural Selection bike and put it on this new venue in New Zealand. And then we launched surf. And it was all within the first... They all premiered within 3 months, 3.5 months.
Yeah, it seemed like it came out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden it's like, bam.
It was wild.
So,
it was one of those where it was like kind of insane. And we just did it.
That's amazing.
The same size team, basically.
Insanity.
We didn't grow the team. And instead of pulling off like some duels and a snowboard event, right, or a couple snowboard events, because some years there's different stages. And this year the stages were super session and regular. But well, Travis wanted to make a snowboarding event. His vision and the co-founders like Cersei and Liam and Carter, to make an event that snowboarders want to compete in.
That's it.
That riders want to be at.
Yeah.
And that snowboarders want to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exciting. It breaks the mold in a way that competition is exciting to watch again.
Totally. Yeah. I remember like just the idea of a resort cordoning off something and not letting people ride it for a small amount of time. He did that first at Jackson. Right. I remember being like, what a genius. He's got this amazing thing.
Jackson locals were a little salty about that.
Yeah,
here they're so nice. Canadians are the best. They're like, oh, well, we'll just leave it for you and then we'll ride it later. Like, we want you to have a good competition.
Yeah. I saw some serious anger in the lineup today. And I was told that it's because when Whistler got so blown out with people, a lot of the most angry, like it's way too busy here, people moved to Revelstoke. So like you've got a concentration of like I've never seen, and I have definitely been the jerk in the line that's like, no, you don't go, we go. Those were the guys in front of you. We go now, then you go.
Now that sounds like surfing. Yeah. So I live in Encinitas and I surf a lot. Yes. And I feel that. I have a little spot I surf. I surf there a lot with Cersei, actually. Yeah. And we've got this, our main old spot got too crowded. We moved to this new spot. And, there's been times this winter it's been so good and so nice. And I'm like, who are you? and my son will go, you just dropped in on that guy. I was like, it was my turn. And I surf here like 200 days a year.
Exactly.
And, he got a wave.
Yes.
This sounds like surfing.
Yeah, it was somebody local that was just like, oh, yeah, you're a little kid and you think you go ahead? No. 2 went from our side, 2 went from your side. We both get to go, so we have to talk it out nicely. So we're going to go ahead of you, you little rat bastard or whatever. And she started swearing at him and stuff. I was like, wow, this is awesome to see. But also like,
that's
man, we
energy.
need more places that like, because we're running out of places that aren't busy. And obviously Revelstoke wants to be busy, so good. They're busy.
Today was an exception. Yeah. Right? It was a powder day and the chair had been closed. The main chair has been closed for 4 days and then it kind of opened. I think today was exceptional.
It was exceptional.
I've had a lot of great days in Revy without many lines.
Oh, me too. Yeah. Every other time I've been here, we're just laughing about how much access we have with no lines.
But it's a tough winter, right? And that's something, we didn't talk about protect our winters today, but like what we saw this winter is going to be more common. It's going to be common, right? It's warming. The earth is warming and we're not doing anything right now to slow it down and certainly not fast enough.
Right. And we're actually kind of going in the other way, aren't we?
We're going the other direction faster than predicted. Yeah. Right. And that's where we see it's these cycles, right? You get a huge storm system and then you get nothing for weeks and you get that. So that's what we're seeing, right? And I think because of climate change, right? Our seasons are getting shorter.
And
fewer lifts can run.
yes.
Fewer mountains are going to be
true.
open.
Right.
So like I think what we're seeing in skiing, right, there's some that passes and the different things, but really there's just going to be less. There's going to be less places with snow and shorter seasons. And so it's going to be concentrated.
Jobs. I remember when Jeremy Jones came on the show and he was talking about, now we're talking about what politicians are talking about. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about job security. We're talking about,
because we have to break through to the people. There's more than half the countries on the side of like, we need to do something.
Yeah.
So and what he's saying is, how do we talk to those that don't understand this? Well, maybe through economic reasoning or other ways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a sad thing that so many people are like, we need to do something. But then we've been made to feel like it's our problem since,
well, that's the fossil
very
fuel
first
companies, right?
Press releases and fossil fuel companies and cigarette companies.
They want to make it personal responsibility so they don't actually have systemic change, which will make a difference.
Right. The litter campaign, we almost had no single-use containers for drinks like in the 60s maybe.
Right. Imagine if that had happened.
We'd be different people.
It would be a different earth, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because they wanted to end that zero cycle, like the straight line of like product garbage at the end, landfill.
Right.
It's like make something that's cyclical like nature.
And I think like the genius of POW is you're like, do you like to do this sport? Do you still want to do it? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's not personal responsibility, but it is like a personal impact about something you really care about.
How is POW doing? Like, I don't hear as much as I have in the past, or maybe I'm not paying as much attention, or I'm not.
I think, POW Canada is now led by Mike Douglas.
Oh, sick.
The godfather of free skiing. He's the president of POW Canada, which is awesome. He also is the head of natural selection ski. So I get to talk to him in two different ways.
Yeah, that's dope.
And he's such a great person. I just went back to POW. I'd been away 3 years and I'm doing their PR again.
They need you. Yeah. That's it.
That's flattering. I mean, I know, but I love doing that work. It means, the way natural selection is inspiring to me and my community. And I just want to support this vision. For POW, it's like, I want to save the earth. I want to help save the earth and do something.
Hell yeah.
And I don't have many talents, but I know how to do one thing. I know how to do PR and I like to snowboard.
Yeah.
So, that's where I'm trying to contribute and POW is doing well. It's big. We're going to a huge year. We came out of the Olympics. There was a lot of coverage of snow sports and climate, which is where POW can offer a voice and POW athletes in a major way worldwide in mainstream news. And then we go into the midterms in the US. And so it's a big year.
Yep.
For Protect Our Winners. You'll hear a lot more.
Yeah, there has to be some pushback against like the losses in environmental protections.
Oh, in the U.S.
It has to happen.
It's catastrophic right now, really. Right. But POW is doing everything they can in this moment to support from their community. And in the end of the day, people are going to have to vote for people who are going to act on climate.
Yeah.
Urgently.
Yeah, I heard a couple of years ago that Europe is moving in that direction.
They are.
And not in lip service, like actual, like
well,
incentive
it makes sense,
things.
right?
Yeah.
It's cheaper. Clean energy is cheaper. Like doing the right thing is actually the better economic choice.
Right.
Solar and wind is cheaper than fossil fuel.
Right. So it's just old big business that is
political contributions and it's ties that are keeping these dying industries alive that are, killing our sports, and our water sources. And I could go on.
We could go on forever. This is great. This has been really, really great. Thanks for being a guest on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thanks for all the PR over the years that you've done that has gotten things onto my radar that I've gone and enjoyed, like those premieres.
Well, I'm really thrilled and nice to take a run with you today.
Oh, that was so cool.
And I think we'll have another couple good days in Revelstoke.
I think that's happening for sure. Awesome. Thanks. Oh, that was great. FNRad shoutouts this week to Lora Bodmer. Thank you for doing the show. Special thanks to Alistair and the crew at Revy, who showed me the goods and kept the stoke high in the early morning lineup. Special thanks to the entire NST crew for dedicating their lives to bringing true snowboarding to the masses. And thank you, as always, to our Patreon supporters, new and old. Your money helps me live this life, and I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to come back next week for more FNRad snowboarding presented by FlowJoy Water and brought to you by FNRad Productions.